So, you just picked up your brand new copy of Kafka. So what now? Well, time to build her, and I'm going to show you how you guys can do that the most optimally today in this video. So leave a like, subscribe to channels if new, let's get straight into things. Okay, so first things first, let's go over what Kafka actually does as a character. So we've got all of her abilities here. As you can see, I haven't fully built my Kafka yet, but I know the process for essentially building it in total. So I'm going to be teaching you guys what that is today, but I'm obviously still working towards that build myself. So first things first, she has her basic attack, which deals lightning damage equal to 90% of Kafka's attack to a single enemy. You then have her talent, which is gentle but cruel. After an ally of Kafka uses basic attack on an enemy target, Kafka immediately launches one follow-up attack and deals lightning damage equal to 115% of her attack to that target with a 100% base chance to inflict shock equivalent to the applied by ultimate to the attacked enemy target for 2 turns. This effect can only be triggered one time per turn, and then he has a bonus effect of plunder. If an enemy is defeated while shocked, Kafka additionally generates 5 energy. We then have her skill, Caressing Moonlight, deals lightning damage equal to 140% of Kafka's attack to a target enemy, and lightning damage equal to 52% of Kafka's attack to an enemy adjacent to it. If the target enemy is currently receiving dot, all dots currently placed on that enemy immediately produce damage equal to 71% of their original damage, which is really, really good. Then we have her technique. Mercy is not forgiveness. Immediately attacks all enemies within a set range after entering battle, deals lightning damage equal to 50% of Kafka's attack to all enemies, with a 100% base chance to inflict shock equivalent to that applied by her ultimate on every enemy target for 2 turns. And then you have her ultimate itself, which is Twilight Thrill. Deals lightning damage equal to 72% of Kafka's attack to all enemies, with a 100% base chance for the enemy to hit and to become shocked and immediately take damage from their current shock state, equal to 95% of its original damage shock lasted for 2 turns. While shocked, enemies receive lightning damage equal to 224% of Kafka's attack at the beginning of the turn. And then Torture. When the ultimate is used, the enemy target will now receive damage immediately from all current applied dot sources include, so basically that is the traces. So these bonus effects are the traces, which you unlock with the trace tree. What are the pros and cons to Kafka? Well, we'll go over the cons first and we'll go to the pros. So yeah, she has an extremely high investment for both her and her teammates. She will generally require a lot of investment from herself and teammates, and this can be a negative to some, but the damage output you get from Kafka is kind of worth it, so it's a trade-off. She's also benefits a lot from having a lot of speed, so the more speed the better with her generally, and yeah. But the pros are, she has devastating single target and AoE damage just in general. She does a huge amount of damage. Consistent output of damage through dots. Can force and proc dots on enemies, which is a really, really strong thing. Crit is irrelevant, so you don't have to worry about building crit rate and crit damage, so you can focus on other stats. And she probably has some of the easiest dot application in the game. Now, as for her light cones, you have quite a few options in terms of light cones. Now, I only have some of them, so obviously, yeah. But one of them is going to be Good Night, Sleep Well, which is one of the ones I'm using now. You also have the one you get from the Forgotten Hall, which I'm going to move over to using soon, which is for meta. Basically, you can buy this from the Forgotten Hall shop. Then you have her Patience Is All You Need, and then Eyes of Prey is another one you can use as well. These ones are all what I would recommend using, but I'm honestly, if you're free to play, use the 4-star one, which is this one here, which is for meta. And that's one I probably recommend, because you can basically get it to Superposition 5 through the Forgotten Hall shop, which is really, really, really good for you. But basically what this for meta one does, increases the break effect dealt by the wearer by 24%, increases their damage to enemies selected with shock or wind or shear. This also applies to the dot. Now I've got this at Superposition level 3, so I'm currently working on upgrading this and I'll be replacing the current one I'm using a bit later. But you have a few different build options for those in general. As for her relics, I would recommend running a 4 set piece of Band of the Sizzling Thunder and a 2 piece of the Space Sealing Station. As an alternative, you can run a 2 piece of the Band of Sizzling Thunder and the Musketeer set, if you wish to. And then as the other 2 piece, you can run Talia, Kingdom of the Banditry. Now, I'm currently working towards that. As for the main stats you want on these relics, on the body piece, you want attack percent. On the feet, you want speed or attack percent. On the planar sphere, which is the orb one here, you want lightning damage bonus. And on the link rope, you want attack percent. This one here is going to always be HP as a main stat, and this one's always going to be flat attack as the main stat, so you don't really need to worry about those. But that's where you kind of want to aim for when you want to try and build those. And as you can see, I'm not fully at that point yet. I've got my lightning damage piece, but I'm going to be looking for a better one with better substats. Obviously, I have the attack percent on there, which is good. And then I have crit rate in here, which I'm thinking of maybe... So I'm substituting with the crit rate, which actually doesn't matter. I should probably actually switch this out with Kafka because it's not super important for her. As for Eidolons, you can have these if you do or don't. I don't have any of them. It honestly doesn't matter. She does a ridiculous amount of damage anyways. So let's talk about how you're kind of meant to be playing her. The way she kind of functions is you want to have your team basically apply as many dots as you possibly can. The more dots you have, the more damage Kafka's going to do. And this scales a lot in Simulated Universe, by the way. I'm going to have an ability build video for Simulated Universe coming up very, very soon, where she just does insane amounts of damage. The team I'm essentially running is I'm running 𝙀𝙓𝙋𝘼𝙉𝙿. He basically, I'm still working on building him, but basically the way that he works, he applies his wind dots, and then Kafka will use like her abilities to essentially trigger those dots in additional times, or like, for example, when she uses her ultimate, she'll get a bunch more dot damage from that. So basically the way you just want to play her in general is just have as many dots up on the team as possible, and then use Kafka to trigger those dots to deal a lot more damage. As for her traces, obviously, if you're going to be maining using her as a main DPS, you want to get all of them up, but the main two ones I reckon you want to focus on are going to be her, well, actually three, her skill, her ultimate, and her talent. And for sub kind of ones, you're going to want to probably get Torture first. Torture is probably one of her most useful ones. It can increase her damage output significantly. Okay, now let's just kind of showcase her in a little bit of combat. I'm going to just jump into a battle and kind of showcase you what I'm talking about. Do keep in mind as well, I'm still currently building my Kafka. She's not at the maximum kind of level I'm looking for yet. Alright, so we're going to do this stage here and I'll kind of showcase the way this kind of setup works. Obviously, you can, in terms of 𝙀𝙗𝙃's place, you can substitute in a 𝙀𝙀𝙃 or some other character that does dot damage, or if you really want to, you can also substitute in other characters like 𝙀𝙀𝙀 works really well on the team. I'll go over some more team kind of setups, you get options you can choose from in a moment. Basically the way this functions is, oh, I'm sorry, I've got an autoplay, let me just turn that off, actually that might screw things up a little bit. Okay, well as you can see, without even having any dots down, she just did 21k straight up, which is actually kind of insane. Alright, so we're just going to go through a battle. I'm just going to kind of showcase how this kind of functions and works. So I'm going to go in the middle here, we're going to get as much dots down as kind of as possible, get a bit of shock. Oh, I meant to use this skill there. Okay, that was, see, I'm playing badly. I'm doing this wrong. Let me kind of go around and do that again. See if we can get some big dick damage numbers, basically, is the plan. If I'm not going to mess this up, hopefully. Alright, gonna restore yourself. Okay, let's try and not mess this up this time. Okay, okay. Come on, let me get the dots down. So that's gonna do quite a bit there. Okay, now we do the bounce. That's gonna get a bunch of dots down. They're gonna start falling like flies in a minute. I'm just gonna pop the ultimate just to make sure we stay alive here. But yeah, this is just kind of how you play her. You wanna, ideally, I'm actually considering swapping out 𝙀𝙀𝙀 over my Bronya. I'm gonna use the 𝙀𝙀𝙀 ultimate first, just kind of get that down. Bit of wind shear. I'm gonna restore, I suppose, Kafka. We'll get the Bronya. So Bronya E into Kafka, and then Bronya ultimate. We want the, oh, 𝙀𝙀𝙀, one 𝙀𝙀𝙀, and then we want the ultimate. This should do, hopefully, a lot of damage. We'll find out. Okay, very sizable. I've seen the higher numbers sometimes. It really just depends on whether, like, what kind of damage you do. And you can do insane damage with this in Simulated Universe. You can do upwards of, like, 100k damage just on Kafka alone from her dots and different various sources in, like, one turn. And it's kind of insane. It's ridiculous what you can do with her. Now, obviously, I have not fully built my Kafka. She's going to get a lot better over time. Yours will too if you already have only started building one. But she's really, really strong in general. And I'm loving playing with her so much. She's such a fun character to use. Anyways, though, you kind of get the general gist with Kafka. She's very, very, very strong. And that's how I suggest honestly just building her. I'm going to go over some little other things quickly before we finish the video. But basically, you can run her and 𝙀𝙀𝙀 if you have like a 𝙀𝙀𝙀 or anyone else that does like burn damage or like wind shear that works really well with her. So you can have that. You can also use, if you have like a 𝙀𝙀𝙀, you can substitute her in for Bronya if you want to, or 𝙀𝙀𝙀. There's a lot of different combinations you can really do, but basically what you want to try and focus on is just having as much dots down as possible. And yeah, that's kind of just the general way you build Kafka. It's actually not too hard. It just requires a lot of investment from other things. So yeah, I'll see you guys for another video another time. I'm going to be doing, like I said, an ability build video for Simulated Universe. I've got a crazy one where it basically just makes you do like shitloads of damage in one turn. But anyways, guys, hopefully you all enjoyed. I'll see you guys in another video another time. And yeah, hopefully you enjoy using your Kafka now that you've got it built.